The parachute coat. In 1912, Franz Reichelt was a tailor in Paris with one dream. He wanted to invent a suit that could work like a parachute. Not a parachute you wear over the suit itself would save you. He tested it with dummies, and the results were not exactly inspiring. But Franz believed the problem was not the invention. The problem was the testing. Maybe the suit needed a real human body to make it work. That is already a dangerous sentence. On February 4, he climbed the Eiffel Tower with his homemade parachute coat. People thought he was going to use a dummy. Then Franz stepped onto the edge himself. He jumped. The coat opened about as well as a wet blanket. Franz fell straight down and died in front of the crowd. He wanted to prove his invention worked. Instead, he created one of the earliest filmed examples of why confidence is not a safety feature. The courtroom demonstration. In 1871, lawyer Clement Vallandigham was defending a man accused of murder in Ohio. His argument was simple. Maybe the victim had accidentally shot himself. To prove this, Clement decided to act it out for the jury. He showed how the victim might have pulled a pistol from his pocket, how the angle worked, and how the accident could have happened. There was one problem. Clement had been practicing with unloaded guns, but during the demonstration, he picked up the wrong one. He acted out the motion and accidentally shot himself. The wound killed him the next day. As legal arguments go, it was extremely convincing. He proved his theory so completely that the courtroom probably needed a minute to decide whether to be shocked or impressed. The cactus shooter. In 1982, a man named David Grundman went into the Arizona desert with a friend. They found a giant saguaro cactus, the kind that looks like it is raising both arms and judging your life choices. David decided this cactus needed to be knocked down. So he started shooting at it. The cactus was huge, old, and very much not interested in being entertainment. After enough damage, one of its heavy arms broke loose. And because the desert has a sense of timing, the arm fell directly onto David. He died beneath the plant he had been trying to destroy. Most people lose arguments with other people. David Grundman lost an argument with a cactus, and somehow the cactus had the better legal case. The scarf ride. Isadora Duncan was one of the most famous dancers of her time. She was dramatic, stylish, and loved long flowing scarves. In 1927, she climbed into an open car in Nice, France, wearing one of those enormous scarves. It probably looked beautiful for about 3 seconds. As the car started moving, the scarf slipped outside and caught in the rear wheel. Before anyone could react, it pulled tight. Isadora died from the accident almost immediately. The saddest part is that the scarf was probably meant to make the moment look elegant. Instead, it became the reason everyone remembers the ride. The Monkey King. In 1920, Alexander of Greece was only 27 years old and already king. One day, he was walking at the royal estate with his dog when the dog got into a fight with a monkey. Alexander stepped in himself. While trying to separate them, he was bitten by another monkey. At first, the injury did not seem serious. A king has armies, guards, ministers, and palaces. Surely a monkey bite should not be the thing that beats him. But infection followed. His health got worse, and a few weeks later, he was dead. This was not just a weird royal accident. His death helped throw Greek politics into chaos. One monkey bite, one king gone. History sometimes moves like a serious book written by a bored cartoonist. The cement coffin. In 1990, escape artist Joe Burris wanted to pull off a Halloween stunt in California. He would be locked in a clear coffin, lowered into a hole, covered, and then escape like a modern Houdini. But Joe wanted more drama. Instead of only dirt, the stunt used wet cement. The coffin was lowered. The cement was poured. The audience waited for the great escape. There was one problem. Cement is heavy. Much heavier than the kind of suspense a glass coffin can handle. The coffin collapsed under the weight, and Joe died during the stunt. Houdini built his career by making danger look controlled. Joe Burris tried to borrow the danger without respecting the control. The electric toilet. Michael Godwin was in prison in South Carolina. He had once faced the electric chair, but his sentence had been changed to life in prison. Then, in 1989, he created the worst coincidence possible. He was sitting on a metal toilet in his cell and trying to fix a pair of earphones connected to his television. During the attempt, he bit into a wire and was accidentally electrocuted. So, a man who avoided the electric chair died by accidentally building one in the bathroom. The Segway Cliff. Jimmy Heselden was a British businessman who became very rich and later bought the Segway company. The Segway was supposed to be the future of personal transport. 2 wheels, self-balancing, smooth movement. Very clever. In 2010, Heselden was riding one near his home in West Yorkshire while out with his dog. Reports said he moved back to let someone pass on a narrow path. That small, polite movement put him too close to the edge. He went over a cliff and fell into the river wharf. He died from the fall. It was a tragic accident, not a joke. But the irony is impossible to miss. The man who owned the self-balancing scooter died because the scooter could not balance the one thing humans always forget about: the orange peel. Bobby Leach was a professional daredevil. In 1911, he survived going over Niagara Falls in a barrel. Not a small waterfall, Niagara Falls. He lived through that and spent months recovering. After that, he became famous. He traveled around telling people about his incredible survival story. Then, in 1926, while in New Zealand, Bobby slipped on an orange peel. That was it. He injured his leg, infection followed, and he died weeks later from complications. A man who survived one of the most dangerous stunts on Earth was ultimately defeated by fruit trash on the ground. It feels unfair, but it also feels like the universe has a strange sense of balance. Niagara Falls missed its chance, so an orange peel handled the follow-up. The Railway Greeting. In 1830, Britain opened the Liverpool and Manchester Railway. It was a huge day. Steam trains were new, exciting, and terrifying. Politicians and important guests came to celebrate the future. One of them was William Huskisson, a member of Parliament. During the event, Huskisson got out of his carriage and moved along the track area to speak with the Duke of Wellington. This was not the best place for a social call. Then the locomotive rocket came along. Huskisson tried to get out of the way, but the moment turned chaotic, and he was fatally injured. He became one of the first widely reported railway passenger deaths. The future had arrived. Unfortunately for Huskisson, it arrived on the same track he was standing on. The Falling Cow. In 2013, João Maria de Souza was asleep in his home in Caratinga, Brazil. He was not doing a stunt. He was not trying to go viral. He was just in bed, probably having the safest activity a human can have. Then a cow fell through his roof. The animal had been grazing on a hill behind the house. The roof was close enough to the hillside that the cow stepped onto it, the roof gave way, and the cow crashed into the room below. João was taken to the hospital, but he later died. His wife was reportedly beside him and survived. Some deaths come from bad choices. This one came from bad architecture, bad geography, and one cow with absolutely no respect for property boundaries. The Dessert King. Adolf Fredrik of Sweden died in 1771 after a huge meal. The popular version says he ate lobster, caviar, sauerkraut, kippers, champagne, and then finished it all with many servings of semla, a sweet bun served in hot milk. The story became so famous that people remembered him as the king who ate himself to death. Now, modern historians argue it may not be that simple. He likely had health problems already. The Turtle from the Sky. The ancient Greek playwright Aeschylus was one of the fathers of tragedy. And according to an old story, his own death was the kind of scene even a comedy writer would call too ridiculous. The legend says an eagle was carrying a tortoise. Eagles sometimes drop hard-shelled animals onto rocks to crack them open. The eagle looked down, saw Aeschylus's bald head, and apparently thought, perfect rock. The tortoise fell. Aeschylus died. To be clear, historians are not fully sure this happened. It may be a legend, but it has survived for centuries because it is too bizarre to forget. A man who wrote tragedies may have died because a bird mistook his head for kitchen equipment. This is the lesson. Intelligence is not the same thing as judgment. You can help write a constitution and still make one decision so bad that future generations whisper, why would he do that? And that is the whole theme of these stories. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more strange true stories. We'll see you in the next one.